if your students have agendas, but they never use them, well, you're not alone. I think one of the biggest challenges we see in executive functioning skills isn't students having an agenda book or having a planner, it's getting them to actually use it. So today I'm going to walk you through some simple, practical ways that you can work with in your classroom to get your students to actually use their agendas and stick with it. I think you have to start with the right message, and that is letting students know that the best agenda is actually the one you're going to use. It's not necessarily the fanciest one or, not the school-issued one. I like the school-issued ones, but that's another thing. And not always an app that everybody should use. Now, that's not to discredit apps because there are some good ones out there. But whatever works best for them is the one that they will actually open. So you might actually want to start with a discussion question and about agendas. Ask students who uses an agenda on their phone, who prefers writing, and where are you most likely to check every day? Because giving students permission to choose what works for them gives buy-in. And buy-in is almost as important as the tool itself. If you want students to use their agendas, you're going to need to put it into your actual class routine. They won't use agenda books because you tell them to. They won't just write things down automatically. They need a structured time, and you need to model for them what they're going to do. So at the end of the class, put in 2 or 3 minutes, have them take out their agendas, and then prompt them. What homework is due. Have them write it down. You've got to study or read chapter 1. Are there any upcoming quizzes? Did you reference one in the class? Have them go to the day of the quiz, put it in, maybe a day before or 2 days before, depending on how big the quiz is. You might want to put in study for quiz in English class or whichever course you're teaching. And then also maybe what do they need to remember for the next class? So do they have to bring shorts for phys ed if you're the phys ed teacher? You're going to model this. You're going to say it out loud as they are writing it into their agenda book. And this is really also critical for students who have ADHD or possibly other learning differences because they need some guided repetition, not just instructions. One of the things that I like to do at the very beginning of the term or the course, even at the beginning of a unit, is have the students enter major due dates. So if they're going to have a quiz, if they're going to have a test, if they're going to have an assignment due, have them write in the dates that you have that, and put in any projects that they might have to do. And I appreciate, dates can change. Sometimes things happen. You've lost a class because it was a fire or drill or what have you. So you can make some changes, but make sure that you give them time to put those changes in or to make those changes. Have them look ahead if they have busy weeks so that they know what's coming. You might even take a whole class on this depending on how intricate everything is and who your students are, but it is worth it because nobody can say, what, I didn't know there was a test, because once it's in the agenda, their brains don't have to carry it, they don't have to think about it, they can learn to open the page, preferably Sunday open for the next week, but we'll get to that. Now we all know that life is very overwhelming for everybody, but also for our students. So one thing that I like to do is each day they write the 6 most important things that they are going to do that day. And it's just 6 because some people get really overwhelmed if they think they have to do a major essay, they have to read this novel, they have to do this and that. So you can model this on the blackboard, 6 things that they have to remember. Maybe it's 1 is math homework, maybe 2 is study for their science quiz. Because you're going to talk about all the subjects they're taking, not just yours. Maybe they have a soccer practice, or they're going to have to meet with their group to talk about a project, read an English chapter, pack gym clothes. And it doesn't have to all be about school. Maybe they have a dentist appointment at 4 o'clock, and they're going to learn to put all of that in, because this isn't something they're just doing for your semester. This is something that you're building for them to do for life. Now, one thing I also like to stress with my students is that they don't always have to finish all 6 things in a day. So maybe they are working on their science experiments, and one day they do the experiment and take some rough notes, and then the next day they do the write-up. And if you have something that you didn't manage to get done and today's 6, it can be moved to tomorrow's 6. So you didn't get to finish reading the English novel, you can put it in for the next day. You have not failed if you didn't manage to get everything done on your 6 most important list. Now, the reason that this is so important for you to teach your students, even if it goes beyond your class, is because when a student knows how to use an agenda well, they feel less overwhelmed. They feel more prepared, and they are more in control. And in all honesty, it is one of the best gifts that you can give your students.